Hey everybody, Michael Nelson here, the founder and CEO of the Coaching Consulting Group. Welcome to this video, part of the Small Business Bootcamp series, on how to use social media in marketing for your small business. Alright, so let's dive right in. Here's what we're going to cover in this video today. We're going to talk about some background of online marketing, the different methods, and where social media might fit in. What exactly is social media and how is it used in marketing? What are the major sites, tips, and techniques for each one that can help you capture traffic, capture clients, turn them into repeat customers, etc. How to integrate social media into your marketing efforts, and then most importantly for small businesses, right after having a plan and how you're going to do it, is automating your efforts. So first, a bit about me. Who am I? As I covered, my name is Michael Nelson, and I started the Coaching Consulting Group about 6 years ago. In previous work efforts, I was a pilot, strategy consultant, and I've been a lifetime entrepreneur. I've always had sort of a side business or a prime business as the focal point of my efforts. I've lived, studied, and worked around the world, both as a high school student, college student, and then lived abroad and worked abroad within aviation as well. I've supported a number of multimillionaires and billionaires directly, particularly in aviation, those were my particular clients directly. I served on the staff of the Commandant of the Marine Corps. I've done strategy work for the White House, and I'm currently focused, and have been now for quite some time, on serving small business owners, where I bring all of that previous experience together, the big business, government work, military, living abroad, seeing different cultures, all of that blended together and created my methodology that I use to help small business owners not only market better, but to create a business that lets them run it efficiently and really enjoy being a small business owner. So how did I get to that point? Well, at heart, I love two things that, more than anything in terms of work. That is solving problems and helping people with whatever problems they have and get the results that they want. And really enjoyed my time in my previous careers, but what I found is, particularly as a strategy consultant and even working at the White House, you would find fantastic problems that only big organizations can conjure up, and work on improving the process, creating measurement, budget tracking, strategy, tying it all together, communication, change management. You would do all these things, and what you would find is a lot of times it would go into a binder and sit on the shelf, and that was true whether it was supporting a government agency or whether it was supporting a very large corporation. It's just big organizations are very difficult to move unless that movement is started from the CEO. And even then, unless that person is particularly gifted, that movement can be fought and not go a whole lot. So what I've found is I can take all those things that I've done before that I really enjoy doing, work with small business owners, and help them see results. So here I am. Now, moving on, getting into the meat of the subject. What is social media? You've probably heard it. It used to be, if you were a small business, you needed to have a website. Everyone would tell you that. No one could really tell you why. They could tell you their opinion. The latest thing creeping up is you need to be engaged in social media if you're a small business. So before we leap in, let's talk about it and how it compares to typical search engine marketing. So typical search engine marketing, SEO, search engine optimization, tries to get your site backlinks, get your site noticed, tied into other sites, so that those backlinks are all votes, and those votes raise you up in the rankings, so that when someone types in donut shop in Detroit, then your donut shop would appear #1. So that's what the purpose of traditional search engine marketing was. Some people would try and do it themselves, some people would outsource it. Within search engine optimization, you have black hat, gray hat, white hat. White hat is doing everything the way Google would have you do it. Gray hat is starting to manipulate things a little bit, and black hat is just flat out using automation to create fake profiles, fake votes, fake backlinks, etc. to game the system, so to speak. Google has, and I say Google as opposed to all the different search engines because Google owns about 80 to 90% of all search right now. Google has continuously been rolling out updates to their algorithm to try and fight those black hat and some gray hat techniques. They want to deliver the best search results so that when you and I go to search for something, we actually find useful information instead of sales offers and multiple pages of affiliate offers and other sites that just aren't so useful. So search engine optimization is a continual battle. It seems, if you listen to a lot of people, for marketing versus Google. That doesn't have to be, but that's what it's evolved into. But you don't have to do it that way. So search engine optimization and marketing is trying to get people to find your site on a search engine, find it interesting, and then click over into your website. So social media, on the other hand, is reaching out directly to people on the web and presenting them with content that's going to lead them back to your site or otherwise engage with them. So you're not relying on Google or a search engine to direct people to you. You're actually reaching out through these different social media sites to interact with those people and then bring them back willingly to your site to find out more, to get something, to learn something, and you start to build that relationship. So traditional search engine marketing is passive. It relies on the search engines. People see a blank page or a page of search results, and then they click on the ones that they're interested in that think will give them the best chance to find the information they're looking for. Social media is engaging. So you're going out, you're engaging with video, with content, with comments, by sharing things, etc. And you're engaging with those strangers, prospects, customers, whatever, and bringing them back. So most of these social media websites will allow you to set up a profile, some personal, some company, some a combination of both. They let you engage with people on that site. Search engines will actually find those sites too, so they can be a part of your search engine marketing. So a good Facebook page, for instance, that has a lot of information and a lot of people that like it and engage with it will actually rank in the search engine too. So they have a double sort of benefit. A lot of them allow you to create communities. Almost all of them will let you share information, whether it's comments, links to other articles that you found interesting with a quick comment, your articles, your videos, etc. And then these things drive traffic directly to your site, pages that you want them to arrive at. And we'll talk about later what kind of pages those should be. The nice thing about social media is, whereas it might take a little bit to rank a page in Google through search engine optimization, and then you're sort of at the whim of chance as to how many people visit it and how many of those select you, with social media you can derive hundreds or thousands of targeted viewers to your site very quickly. If you've got good content, if it's engaging, if you've built up a reputation, it's very easy to drive a lot of traffic to your site if you do it correctly. So marketing online. So we talked about the traditional SEO, and if you're interested, I did a previously I've done a 7-part video series on traditional SEO. You can find the link to it on my website, and that address is at the top of every page here. There's pay-per-click, pay-per-view, and ads, and those things are ads that you see in Google. You'll see them on Facebook, you'll see them in LinkedIn, you'll see them in Twitter. And basically, pay-per-click means you design an ad, they have to approve the ad. Once the ad's approved, it'll be put on pages, and you're able to select, depending on which site you're at, you'll be able to select who you want to see those ads. So when that person goes and looks for something, there'll be your ad over there on the right-hand side typically, along with a lot of the other ads that they're sold. And they price them in 2 different ways. Probably more. Here's the 2 major. Pay-per-click, which means you only pay if someone clicks on your ad. And those cost about twice as much. Well, you can't compare them because one's in thousands and one's per click. So pay-per-click, $1, $2, up to $5 if some of them are particularly zeroed in on people and they've proven to be quite valuable to have people come to a site. But generally speaking, 70 cents to $1.25, somewhere in there per click. Pay-per-view or pay-per-impression, whatever, is how many thousands of times is that ad appearing on a page. So that might be more useful if you're just trying to build a little brand awareness and repeat views and hoping to get a few clicks out of it too. And then there's general ads, which you can place on Google on any site. There's email marketing. If you build up a list and you use an autoresponder as a way to stay in contact and broadcast information. These things, particularly the SEO, are always changing because of the Google algorithm changes that I mentioned before. And they go by cute animal names, whether it's panda or penguin. And these things really disrupt the search results and the marketing that companies are doing and paying for. So the nice thing about social media is it can drive traffic independent of Google, which is important. You need to track your marketing, not just with SEO, but social marketing too. If you're going to put forth the effort, if you're going to spend resources, whether they're time or money, you need to see what you're getting. It needs to work with your business model and your marketing plan. So don't go and just start a social media campaign and see what happens and not really be able to track it, because you want to know, for instance, if you buy ads on a particular service, how many clicks did you get? What did those people do when they visited your site? Did they bounce, which means did they leave your site without going anywhere else? Do they look at several pages? Do they buy? Do they request information? What's their behavior? And you'll want to track which ads drove that particular type of behavior that you were looking for the best, so that you, next time around, spend your money wisely and you design your ad as best as possible. And in those places where it doesn't work, maybe you try a few different things, and if that doesn't work, maybe you don't advertise there. It completely depends. But you need to track it, you need to understand it, you need to figure out its impact on your business. So this slide is one that Guy Kawasaki did in terms of, he put the information together and Dan Rome put the drawings together. For background, Guy Kawasaki is a great visual thinker and visionary. He's written a number of books, and Dan Rome is a person who likes to take complex things and put them into these pictures. So these are Dan Rome's illustrations here. And what he does is take complex things, break them down into simple concepts, and then illustrate them as well. And these work great for business where you have complex things and you have consultants talking about synergy and leverage. Works really nicely to have something like this where you can quickly describe something. And so I thought I would use that to talk about these 4 services. So Twitter is about perceptions. Breaking news, what's happening right now. And you hear things talking about Twitter trends. And that's, a lot of people are talking about that particular piece of news or word or person. Twitter is very short attention span, short messages. Facebook's about people. Facebook started as a way for college students, in fact, to connect and interact, and it's grown beyond that because it's filling a hole that, where the demand was, but nothing was providing it. And he describes it as one big family reunion. So it's friends where you can find things. In fact, I've found a couple of groups that I studied overseas with that have groups on Facebook, and so now those of us that haven't maybe heard from each other in 20 years are connecting. So it's a great connector, and it's typically person to person. But there's a lot of information, there's a lot of things you can do with Facebook too. Pinterest is a new kid on the block, but boy is it powerful, and it's coming on fast. Pinterest is about pictures. And so as you know, typically when you search the web, particularly in the search engines, especially unless you hit image, you're seeing text, and you have to read the text and so on. Pinterest, when you go there, almost everything there is pictures. So you can quickly scan a ton of information and see what catches your eye. And it's the world's biggest pinboard, they call it. Google Plus is Google's entry into social media, and it's about passions. So it's, he calls it the ultimate clubhouse. And what you'll find is there's a lot of art sharing, there's a lot of picture sharing, there's a lot of, say, sports teams and sports interest sharing, but there's also business going on there as well. You just need to know how to do it correctly. So we'll cover a few more sites as well, but I thought this was a good introduction as to what each site is all about. So Facebook, we're going to dive in right here. For each of these, I've got a slide where we'll talk a little bit about it, and then I've got a picture on the next slide. So we'll go through this kind of quickly, and then we'll talk about the picture and relate back. So it's at facebook.com. Right now, it has over 800 million users worldwide. So this is a big, big place to find people. People of all shapes and sizes, ages, demographics across the board are on Facebook. The way it works, you create a profile, you log in with your personal name, you create a profile, you add pictures, videos, and then you have to invite friends, or you can be invited, and then you have to accept those connections, and so do the people that you invite. You can't just arbitrarily become friends with someone on Facebook. And then they have what are called fan pages. Now, fan pages can be business oriented. You can have an unlimited number of fan pages associated with your profile. So you can have a fan page for each product or service. You can have a fan page that's about your company. You don't want to be so diluted, but think through how many of these fan pages you want and would benefit from. And then along with that, you can be fans. So people can come along, like a page, and become a fan, and then when you put something on your page, it'll pop up on their page. Now, the nice thing is when their friends come and look at their pages, all of their friends are going to see that as well. So you can see where that can go viral pretty quickly if it's valuable and useful information. Facebook, like Google, makes changes kind of frequently, not as often, but they just shift to something called timeline. Really threw a lot of people for a loop. A lot of businesses were gnashing their teeth and crying. I think it's fantastic. When we look at the next page, it's going to be a timeline format business page, and it's quite powerful for engaging with people and building up a tribe of like-minded people who are interested in what you have to say and offer. You can also have groups. So you can start a group, if you're a bicycle shop, you can start a bicycling group, focused on your area. And then you can send out emails, you can post it in your store, you can let people know about it, and then that group can be a place where people come to discuss your particular subject, and you're moderating it, you control it. So another bike shop can't come in and advertise their things, but yet you can on your group. So it's a way to not only build that tribe, but control the information that's put there and make sure that it's very useful. Facebook has ads. They work for some companies, they don't work with others. But they allow you to be extraordinarily targeted because they're profile based. So you can target very, very specific demographics with your Facebook ads, which is great because if you're a chiropractor in New Jersey, you don't want to be advertising necessarily all across the country. You want people to, be in your area that see your ad. If you focus on sports injuries, you might select your ads, you might target very active people and things like that. And you might target an age group where more of these injuries happen. So you can target ads very specifically on Facebook. And you can drive business through videos. You can put up like gates, which means something will pop up and your video will be blocked until people say, yes, I like it, I'd like to see more. And then they become a fan, which allows you to push information to them. So a lot of different things you can do with Facebook. So let's look here at a fan page, and I've just arbitrarily picked Nikes, and we'll look at a number of things. This is the new timeline that I talked to you about. And so up here you can see this is my personal profile I'm looking at. You can create a new page. It's got the timeline here. And when I talked about like, people can like this or message you. And these three windows are fantastic. Nike hasn't done a very good job using them, but they've got 9.1 million fans, likes you can see. They've got a different one here that allows you to go and click on it and get locations, but it doesn't even have a graphic. And then you can contact them and get support. These three boxes, you can put anything in that you like. If you have a free offer, if you've got videos, if you've got something you'd like to share, these three, you can fill these up. Now they've only got three, but if they had more, you would see a pop down here. You can have as many of these as you'd like. So let's say you have books. You could have book reviews on every book could have its own little tab here. You can have photos. And then this is your profile picture for their page. So they've just chosen their Nike swoosh. And then this is their background page. Here's the timeline information down here below. I'll get rid of this shading. So none of these areas up here where it says my time is now and this big picture and then their profile picture, you're not allowed to have a call to action. They don't want business done in such a way that it's just drawing people in and in your face. But you can put your branding things and so on here. Down here you can start to have some information and messaging. Here's where ads will show up that I talked to you about earlier too. So Facebook is a great way to set up a community, a group, to put videos, and all of this information here Google is going to find. So if you set something up to go to the bike shop example, you might have mountain bikes, sports bikes or racing bikes. You might have local events that you can go to, and then you might have any number of tabs below that as well. And you can use keywords in those identifications. You can use video. Google loves video. Google owns YouTube, if you weren't aware of that, and it gives them preference. So ranking video will also help you rank a site if you have links in it. So there's a lot you can do with Facebook, both to engage with fans and to help your search engine optimization. So you're kind of getting two birds with one stone with Facebook. And then when you post, it's cut off here a bit, but you can see right here, Nike shared a link, the next wave is here. So these are things that you can post. And when you post, it will show up on all 9.1 million fans that Nike has. And it'll show up on their page. So when they go and look at it, they'll see that. They can then share that. If their friends come to their page, they can see that. So it's a way, if you build this community up, not only can you help your search engine rankings, and not only can you bring people to your site, but you can also get some viral messaging going where people will start talking about you and sharing the information with friends. So it's quite powerful. Okay. Next we'll look at LinkedIn. LinkedIn's kind of a different beast. You don't hear it talked about nearly as much in the social media. LinkedIn is a networking site mostly for professionals. So if you're a business, a lot of the LinkedIn interactions between businesses are business to business. So if your business is selling something to other businesses, LinkedIn works really well. If your business is selling to consumers, it doesn't work quite as well because this tends to be a professional crowd, more focused on professional things and less focused on consuming and buying and selling, etc. So very business to business oriented. But LinkedIn has something that's absolutely fantastic, which are groups. Groups are now free, so you can start a group. So if you have a business shredding documents for businesses, you can start a document security group, and you can post information and articles. You can also join groups, and when you join a group, some some require you to be approved, some you can just join outright, but once you join, you can post things there as well. So now you might be able to write an article and post that on 5, 6, 7 different groups and actually put that article in front of potentially 100,000 people. So it's really powerful. You can use direct contact via messaging. You can buy messages for $5 a piece, I think they are, which allow you to send something directly to someone. You won't get their email address, but you'll be able to contact them. If they don't respond, you get your money back. And if you buy professional subscriptions, they give you a couple of those every month. And you can also reach out and have connection requests. So you can invite people to connect, and this, like Facebook, they can accept it, reject it. If you get spammy on here, they'll shut your account down and lock you out in a heartbeat. So it's very professionally oriented, and you have to stay that way. The profiles really resemble either a company profile or a resume. So you'll see businesses that have profiles on here. Most people that have profiles are going to have something that resembles a resume. There'll be some sort of description box, and then past history that's usually reverse chronological order, saying I worked here, I did this, and then the groups they belong to, the schools they went to, etc. And LinkedIn will also typically suggest people that you might want to connect with. They're very good at putting the connections together between people you used to work with, people you went to school with, where you live, and they'll actually suggest a lot of people that you know and just haven't thought of that are on Facebook or on LinkedIn, excuse me. And LinkedIn also has a lot of ads that you can buy in place. I haven't had a whole lot of luck with LinkedIn ads. They seem to be fairly unresponsive, so I don't know if people click on them at all. But they do have the option to have ads, and again, they can be very targeted too, typically towards levels in the company and positions and titles. And then, as I mentioned, you can use groups to post information. And I'm going to talk about these groups that several of these places have a little bit down when we get into automation, when I tell you what you can do and how you can reuse things and how, with minimal effort, you can really start some powerful campaigns. Okay, so here's a LinkedIn profile. Again, I grabbed Guy Kawasaki just because I had a slide in here previously, and because Guy and I are not connected. You see here he's a second connection. They have first, second, and third connections, and then people you just don't know. And then it tells me how am I connected to Guy. Here's a couple people. Jay Conrad Levinson and I are connected. He's the author of the Guerrilla Marketing series, and he's connected to Guy. So if I wanted to get in contact with Guy, I could say, get introduced through a connection, and then I could pick the connection, and then the note would go to whoever I picked saying, would you please forward this on, and they would decide to forward it or not, and I wouldn't know either way. So they keep you anonymous. But so you can see the profile. It's got a lot of information about what you've done. It's typically job related. It's all very professional oriented, not quite as passion oriented, say, as Google or picture oriented as Pinterest. This is very professional oriented. And so you can see his profile. And it'll let you search for profiles too. So it's good if you, let's say, are looking for a bike shop. You could go in here and look up people. If you're looking for a fitness instructor in your area, you might be able to go up here into the people box and just search for, personal trainer and then your zip code, and their profiles would come up here. They also have, areas where you can recommend people. And so if that person has lots of recommendations, like you can see here, Guy recommends so-and-so. And you can read those too. So the groups are going to be the powerful piece, as I will talk to later. Just bear that in mind. Okay, Google+. Google Plus is a new social network. It's been around, maybe a year and a half. And it's already up over 100 million users. It's really exploded because it rolled out almost as an invitation-only beta and then opened up about a year and a half ago fully. And it's just really grabbed a lot of people. But the challenge is it doesn't seem to have a lot of people that are engaged. So a lot of people are there and they kind of look at it, but they're not sure what to do with it. And is it better than Facebook? Is it better than Twitter? Because they're all a little bit different. People don't seem to have figured out how to use Google Plus religiously. But what there is a lot of is passion. So passionate groups. You'll see a lot of photographers sharing their work, artists, a lot of musicians. So if you're in something where you can develop a passionate following, Google Plus is going to be very powerful for you. It works really well with search engines as well. Again, Google Plus, because it is part of Google, their results automatically influence the search engine results. And the other thing that happens is all the people you're connected with, Google looks at, and then when you do a search for something on Google, it creates a profile through an algorithm and presents you with search results that are related not only to your terms, but who's in your circle of influence on Google+. And you can turn that off too if you like. You just have to go into settings. So anyone that has a Google account also has a Google Plus account automatically now. So you might be thinking, well, I don't have anything that fits into that sort of passionate profile with my business. But that's no reason to ignore Google Plus, because here is something absolutely critical. If you write information at all, if you publish information under your name at all, on Google Plus, if you start a profile, you can link your name to that particular blog or to a website that publishes your information with your name. And then when the search results come up, you will actually have a picture of yourself beside the search results. So if I do a search, for Cogent Consulting, there'll be hundreds of boxes that actually show my picture because Google has verified me as the author and puts a picture of me as the author in there. And in search results, pictures are going to grab people's attention much more than just text. So you'll actually get clicked on disproportionately more because you're a verified author by Google. So that can really help not just your search rankings, but the click-throughs, people that visit you after they see it. You can create business pages here as well. And the concept here is a little bit different. You can connect with people and they don't have to connect with you. So you can follow them like you can on Twitter, and they don't have to follow you back. If you follow each other, then the things you post will appear on each other's pages, etc. And I talked about the influence of the +1s or author status, but the +1 concept is interesting too. So Google has +1, where it's their version of Facebook's like. So you can, any page on the internet, any article, you can have a plugin on your toolbar and you can say, oh, I like that, and click +1. And that will go on your page saying that you liked it, and that page will get a +1. And Google will say, well, that page, if it has a lot of +1s, must be popular, and it'll raise it up in the search rankings. So if you can build a little bit of a community on Google Plus and get some of your information clicked on and liked, it'll start raising your profile in the search engines. You'll get more people to visit you. And that's a great way to drive traffic, using it even if you don't think it's applicable, the overall site to you. So here's my profile. I just grabbed off of +1. You can see you've got space for 5 pictures here, whatever you like. They just have certain size requirements before they start cutting pieces off. You can post things, and I put this here because it integrates with YouTube. This is a video actually on my Small Business Bootcamp, in fact. And when you post a video on Google+, it links it to YouTube. And Google owns YouTube, so YouTube gets a little bit more preferential treatment, and video really gets preferential treatment in the search engine rankings. So if you find, if you search for something and you look at page 1, there's going to be 10 results. There'll be a couple of ads on top of those 10 results and some to the right, and then you may find a couple of other things. You may find 2 to 5 different local businesses show up in those search rankings right in the middle of the page. And then you may also, towards the bottom of the page, at least where it is currently, see a couple of video searches as well. So you can have a video that's popular actually end up on the front page of a very competitive keyword just by being a video. So it's a way to get into different pages without actually having to rank and compete against maybe some very big companies. And so you can post, make comments, you can +1 if people like it, it shows up in their comments. You can chat with people, it'll tell you you have, this many people. They use circles, different groups of interests, and so many people are following you, etc. So Twitter. Twitter's kind of the short attention span social media. You're limited to 140 characters when you tweet, so a long sentence. Shorter to medium sentence if you have a link that you include. But it has 500 million users and growing. And, it's a way that people use to both, keep track of people, to post what they're doing, to share information. And the other thing it does is it can really help things go viral. So if there's something exciting, like those flash dances or songs that you see, videos of where they might be in a mall, a lot of those will get Twittered immediately and people will flock to them, and that's how the word is spreading. You can follow anyone on Twitter, but they don't have to follow you back. And there's some limits. You can only follow 2,000 people before you have to have at least 1,800 followers to get any more. Because they don't want people with no followers just running around following people and then trying to send out spam and things like that. So you have to actually develop a community here on Twitter as well. There are a host of tools available to automate Twitter where you can look for like-minded people and automatically send them messages. And it may not sound as if Twitter's for you, but let me give you just an example of how you might use Twitter if you're a local restaurant. Local businesses typically get 80% of their customers from within a 5-mile radius. So if you have a brick and mortar shop, according to statistics, 80% of your revenue is coming from people that live within 5 miles or work within 5 miles of your shop. So you might grab one of the automated tools, of which there's a lot out there, and this is something that I've done for clients before, is they might add a new menu item. They might have a new special. Let's just say they decide to create a new burger, some sort of special burger, and really want to get the word out, want to use it as a way to advertise. Well, you can search Twitter for anyone that has had burger in a comment in a tweet. Tweet's what they call the 140 character messages. within 5 miles of your location. So now anyone that has had a comment like that is going to show up in that search. And you can set that search to run automatically continuously. So now, what do you do with the people that you find? Well, maybe you send them a quick note. Hey, saw that you were looking for burgers in, Hoboken. We've got a brand new burger. If you're interested, let me know. I'll send you a coupon. And you just leave it. And they get that. If they are interested, they send you a note and say, yeah, I'd like that coupon. And you can have an autoresponder, again, that's just keyed on, did someone respond to that message? When they get it, say, hey, great, here's the coupon. And, by the way, share this with anyone you like. And now, without doing a thing beyond that initial setup, what you've created is an engaging conversation, even though you've done it with automation, that's to the customer's benefit. They're getting something and they're being made aware of something, and they may come to your restaurant. And that is a fantastic way to use Twitter for local businesses, for instance, especially. And one that we found really drives a lot of business. Here's a Twitter page. You can leave them just kind of with a blue background, or you can actually go and put a lot of stuff in here. I put Tim Tebow's in just because I figured he would have a lot of stuff going on because he's always in the news. And so you can see he's tweeted 565 times. He is following 54 people. And if you look at some of these things that pop up, like he's following Jockey International. Oh, and lo and behold, Jockey's down here. So he's following all of his sponsors and people that are paying him, and he might be following a few family and friends as well. And then he has 1.6 million people following him. And you can see, here's the length of a tweet. And so he's using it here. He's got it connected to his Facebook page. Down here, he's got a shortened URL, and I don't know what it connects to. You'd have to click on it to find out. So you see, and then here he's mentioning someone, at, and then that person's Twitter name. So you can set these up and run, and you can have that automation in there, and then when they come to your page, they can find out a little bit about your restaurant, where you are, what your hours are, maybe some pictures, maybe some menu item pictures, etc. Whatever you choose, whatever drives people. Okay, Pinterest. Don't have a lot here because there's not a lot on it yet. Pinterest is very visual. It's almost brand new, but it's already added 10 million people in the first quarter of 2012. And not only that, but it already drives more traffic than Twitter. Very visually oriented, and Pinterest can drive more traffic in a shorter amount of time than anything I've ever seen. If you do something right on Pinterest and it goes viral, you're in for a flood of traffic. So let's look at Pinterest. I put Maria Goudelis' page up here. This is her board, is what they call it. So this is where you would put the information about you, how to connect with you on Twitter, Facebook, etc. And then each of these areas down here is called a board. You can see she has 10. You create these, you label them, and then you put things in, you pin them. So essentially you're on a web page and you pin it with the browser add-on that you can get, and it'll put it on your board. You say, put it on this board. And then it'll put it up on the front page of Pinterest. And then if people like it and click on it, it'll stay on the front page. If not, it falls off as more things come on. And if you can stay on that front page, I've seen blog articles of mine take off and get 14,000 pins and drive 10, 15,000 people to my blog to read a particular article. And they're coming because they saw something about it already. So those are people that are actually interested in your article who are coming to check it out and read it. And so your bounce rate is a lot lower. People will actually stay and engage. Pinterest is great if you have anything that's visual that you can prepare. And if you don't have visual products or services, you can create infographics. Infographics do really well on Pinterest. And so we've created some infographics for clients that take off and they stay on the front page forever. And they get pins and people follow them. And they drive tons of targeted traffic to their websites, to the page that they've chosen with that pin. Pinterest is invitation only, but it's opened up quite a bit now. It's to the point where you can go and say, I'd like to be invited, and within a day or two they'll send you an invitation. So anyone can join. Pinterest is loved by Google too, so if you do well on Pinterest, Google's going to pick up on that as a social signal. Google is really trying to add social signals into its ranking algorithm, because social signals are basically people voting for things instead of links, which can be gamed very easily. So Google's putting a lot of weight in social media. Okay, here's some other things. Dig, Stumbleupon, Reddit. There are hundreds of these. These are just 3 of the big ones. And what they are is just bookmarking and social sharing sites. So you can bookmark an article and put a couple sentences in about it and put it on Dig, and people can vote it up or down. You can put it in Stumbleupon, people can vote for it. And the Stumbleupon, if it's there and someone says, show me something about business, it'll randomly send them to a page. Reddit is kind of the same as Dig. And so these are things that people use to share interesting news, typically news articles, and add it to those sites. People vote it up or down, and if it's voted up, it'll get more and more traffic. If it's voted down, it disappears. They can drive a lot of traffic potentially. I haven't seen it as much with Dig and Reddit. They'll send a few, but Stumbleupon can send hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people. But because it's a random selection, you never know if you're getting someone that's actually interested in what you have, and so they bounce a lot. But it's still worth having a presence on Stumbleupon, because even if only 5 out of 100 stay, it doesn't take a whole lot of effort to set up, and it can be completely automated in conjunction with everything else, and so it's just free traffic, that you weren't going to have otherwise. These sites seem to be losing influence as more of the other sites really start to build up and get people's attention, because you can only go to so many of these sites and stay engaged in them. And a couple of them have made real bad mistakes in terms of maybe restricting what people could say and bouncing people's accounts, and so a lot of people have just left them altogether. And since they live on ad revenue, and as those numbers go down and the interaction goes down, the sites start to really suffer. But what they can do is be a part of your building social credibility. Remember, we talked about Google really liking social media. These help you build that social presence and credibility and buzz. They can get your pages indexed. If you put a new page up and you get someone to dig it or stumble it or put it on Reddit, they'll get indexed in a heartbeat, which means Google will find them and make them available in their searches. And that can help you create a buzz. A coordinated campaign using these as well as some of the others can really work together to drive people to your site. Okay, so that wraps up kind of the background of the sites that I wanted to cover, just to introduce you to them. A key part that seems to be left out of a lot of people's thoughts is where are you going to send the traffic? So again, I mentioned this at the beginning with social media. Have a plan. Any marketing that you do should have a plan. It shouldn't be random. Where do you want them to go when they interact with you via social media? What are you trying to send them to? And then what are you trying to do when they get there? What's your call to action? Are you trying to just build your brand, and so you want to engage with them and maybe have part 1 of a 2-part series so that they come back and read that? Do you want to provide coupons? Do you want to provide deals? Are you going to try and pitch them right then and there? Are you going to try and get them to join your community? Etc. The one thing I will say is that when social traffic comes to your site, they will bounce off of a sales page far more than regular search engine traffic, because they're social, by nature. You want to be engaged. So I wouldn't advise sending them right to a sales page. I'd start with an engagement page. Here's how to get something from me and engage with me, and then build that relationship, that know, like, and trust process of turning a stranger into a prospect, into a customer. You can't do it all at once and skip all the steps, or they'll just leave. But these are great ways to build a community of followers that you can share information with, and who can share information with each other on your site, etc. And it'll really help your other marketing efforts as long as you do it in a cohesive and coherent way. And that's kind of what I talk about here at the top. This is all of our marketing that we do is this holistic marketing, and not just the pieces of the marketing puzzle that fit together, but your business goals, your outcomes you're looking for, the things you do for your customers, and who are those customers, and what's your plan. They're all part of the marketing process for a small business, because a small business can't afford to have a host of compartmentalized initiatives going on that don't talk together and don't work together. So it needs to be part of a system, and that's what we do. So here is one of the keys of this presentation. If you get nothing else, get this: automate. So I talked about, I think, what, 5 major sites, from LinkedIn and Facebook and Twitter and Google Plus and Pinterest, and then some smaller sites, the Digs and the Reddits and the Stumbleupons. You'll work yourself silly trying to stay on top of those things. So you need to automate, use systems, use processes, outsource if you need to. And I put a statistic in here. Small business owners are busy. I don't need to tell you, you know that. But over 60% of small business owners are working 6 or 7 days a week, and almost half are working at least 10 days a week, 10 hours a week, or 10, I'll get it right yet, 10 hours a day. So you don't need more busy work. So if you're going to add social media to the mix, the key is automation. And that's whether you do it yourself or whether you outsource it. You want it to work, you want it to work quickly. And why is it important that outsourcing is automated? Because you don't want to pay for the labor to do the things that you're not doing either, otherwise it gets really expensive. So you want to set up your profile, your pages, your sites correctly. You want to have the right information, the right calls to action, know when you can't have a call to action, and then use tools to automate your presence and build that connection with the social media and your tribe. And you also want to reuse material. So if you write a 1,000-word article that you're going to put on your blog, write just as is. You can take that article and through some automation and through some systems and WordPress is what we use, and a number of plugins and a number of automation tools beyond that. And we'll send a blog post, and for our clients, we'll take it to their fan book or their Facebook fan page. And any fan pages that they have, any number of them. You can send it to Facebook groups too. It can also be posted out automatically to LinkedIn groups. It can be sent to Twitter groups, Pinterest, and so on. And the nice thing about this automation is you can select different titles for the different fan groups that you have, and the automation will automatically put the content together with the title that's appropriate for that particular group. And then the other thing that automation is really good for is tracking your results. You don't want to do any of this stuff and just see what happens. You want to know what happens, observe it, and you want to focus in on what were you trying to do, did it happen, how much did it cost you, how long did it take, etc. And then sync with your marketing. This is a piece of your marketing. This isn't some sort of initiative that stands off to the side and you just do it at lunch or have it up and ping around with it and market or text back and forth or whatever it is. So ready, fire, aim, that's endemic amongst entrepreneurs, is not the way to go. Plan and coordinate your effort with your goals and your other marketing initiatives and your marketing plan. And our marketing plan that we put together for people is, like I mentioned, holistic. It covers your entire business. It's a marketing and strategy plan, and it really deals with your business model, so the operations of your business, so that in one place you've got everything you need for your business, so that you're not chasing your tail and trying to do 15 things at once and not doing any of them well. You want to send it up with the end in mind and automate, automate, automate. And then you want to budget and track your spending. How much did it cost you to do this? What results are you getting? Is it what you expected? And then, well, were the results different, or were your expectations too high? And figure it out from there, so that every time you iterate, you improve. And you track your results and adjust. The other thing I would say is you can buy fans or build fans. You can go to a number of different sites on the internet and buy fans, and they'll send you, 1,000 Twitter fans or, Pinterest fans, but they're not real. A lot of them are just robots controlled by one person. Google can figure out if they're all coming from the same computer or whatever, and so they'll actually discount your site. So it's not about having the number of fans, it's about interacting with those fans to do something for them with an outcome of your business in mind. So you're providing them with value, but at the same time, you're also showing them the value of your service or product and how to engage with you, and you're trying to make them customers ultimately. So buying fans is not going to create a single customer for you. It's going to create fake traffic, fake numbers, and do nothing for you except maybe penalize you a little bit. So I would advise against buying fans. Okay, so my last slide. Hope you got something out of this presentation. Again, it was supposed to be a primer, a beginner's piece, but also provide a number of tips for each different one. And if you'd like someone to help you with your social marketing, to organize your marketing and align it with your goals, to set up your social media campaigns from sites and profiles and automation and tracking, and then actually run your campaigns for you month over month. I would be delighted to work with you. The way to do this is let's talk and make sure it's the right thing. So I'm offering here on this video a free 30-minute social media checkup. We'll see what you're trying to do with your business and your goals, what you're doing right now for your current efforts, and then try and craft a quick solution or two so that you can improve what you're doing right now no matter what, whether we work together or not. And then from that call, if you feel that you'd like me to help you with your efforts, we can discuss the appropriate way forward for you, a plan that works for you at a price that works and makes sense. Because it's important that you're comfortable with who you work with, and it's important for me to know that I can actually help someone and before we both move forward. So how do you reach me? Here's my email address, michael@thecogentcoach.com. You can also find it at my webpage, which is at the top of every slide that you've seen, http://thecogentcoach.com. And here's my phone number as well, 877-242-4812. If you don't get a hold of me, leave a message and I'll call you back as soon as possible. Look forward to helping any of you out that choose to give me a call. And, send me some notes. Let me know what your challenges are. Let me know what you thought of the video, what more you'd like to get out of these things, and I will add them to my Small Business Bootcamp video series and post another video in a week or two that deals with the next issue in hand. So I hope everyone has a fantastic day. Thanks much for joining me on this video, and I look forward to hearing from you.